Welcome to Williams Mullen's Benefits Companion, a podcast that helps employers navigate the complex legal challenges of managing their employee benefit plans. I'm your host, Brydon DeWitt, and today I'll be joined by Marie Yascko-Rosado, an associate in our Employee Benefits and Executive Compensation Practice Group here at Williams Mullen, to discuss recent Department of Labor proposed regulations regarding environmental, social governance investing by retirement plans, or also known as socially responsible investing by retirement plans. How are you doing, Marie? Thanks for joining us on the Benefits Companion.
I'm doing great, Brydon. Thank you for having me.
I know that you've been working on an alert, I think maybe is going out soon on this topic. So just at the outset, what exactly is environmental social governance or socially responsible investing?
Sure, Brydon. So socially responsible investing is any investment strategy that considers both financial return, but also social and environmental good, with the goal, of course, of bringing about positive change. So it's often called ESG, which is short for environmental social governance, also called socially conscious, green, ethical investing. It actually began as a practice of avoiding companies that profit from quote unquote sin items, such as like alcohol, tobacco, gambling, and firearms. So ESG, just to tell you a little about it, it doesn't really have a standard terminology, which can be a little bit confusing. When looking at ESG investing, people typically actively seek out socially responsible investments that follow three areas to build a portfolio. As I mentioned, environmental is the first, social the second, and governance. And some examples in environmental investing would be companies that work on climate change or focus on climate change or renewable energy. Social would be someone that focuses on like HR, labor standards, privacy, consumer protection. And governance is kind of like board diversity, different business ethics, and whatnot. So this ESG investing has caught the attention of numerous investors. And actually in 2005, about 2,000 asset investors from other 60 countries signed the United Nations sponsored Principle for Responsible Investment, making a commitment to incorporate these ESG criteria into investment processes. So this ESG isn't really anything new. It's something old that's being recycled and brought back again, because people have found that money talks. And so they are putting their money where they want to see change.
Right. So a plan sponsor may have interest in offering socially responsible investment options under their plan, or they may be receiving demands from employees that when they look at their 401k lineup, that they want some of these options to promote.
Absolutely. There's been a huge uptick. I think it was like trifold from last year, and it was 4 times larger in 2019 than it was in 2018, the offerings of these sustainable funds, ESG funds. So yeah, definitely.
So Marie, as you mentioned, socially responsible investing for retirement plans is nothing new. And although we're going to be talking about the new proposed regulations from the Department of Labor, what's the current landscape of regulations regarding socially responsible investing, or ESG investments?
Sure. As a little reminder for our listeners, the ERISA fiduciary obligations encompass the duty of loyalty, aka the exclusive purpose rule, which is the plan administrator must operate and handle the plan and the plan assets for the exclusive purpose and benefit of the investors, meaning mitigating any expenses that the plan might incur. Also, the duty of prudence, to prudently select the investments, duty of diversification, diversify investments, and the duty to follow the plan and investment policies. So if you had, an ESG in your investment policy, you could follow that. And this isn't the first time the DOL has issued guidance during the Obama administration that allowed retirement plans to consider the social impact of ESG investments, so long as the fiduciary obligations weren't compromised.
So under the Obama regulations, did those regulations provide any comfort for plan sponsors who wanted to invest in ESGs that's not available in the proposed regulations?
Well, the proposed regulations kind of are quote unquote clarifying and building upon. Previously, you could consider ESG investments and it would be a part of your duty of loyalty. The proposed regulations kind of say, well, the duty of loyalty is larger than the ESG investment. It has to be your first consideration. And you have to have a pecuniary focus. You can't just say, I want to invest in this investment. There has to be an economic reason, with good returns where you can select this ESG investment.
So although a retirement plan committee or plan participants might want a socially responsible investment option, before the committee can add that option to the investment lineup of the 401k plan, they still have to do the same due diligence and the same determination as to whether it's a prudent investment from a financial standpoint and from a fee perspective.
Absolutely. The new proposed regulations, they just really want people to focus first on what they call the primary goal of retirement plans, which is to, make money for your retirement. So they want you to focus on that first, making money. And assuming that all the investments are the same, everybody has really good returns, then secondary, you could pick something based upon the ESG factors. But these new proposed regs, they want you to document all of this. They want you to make sure that if you are then picking an ESG factor, an investment based upon the ESG factors, that you say why and just kind of detail that. They want to make sure that you are promoting and following that duty of loyalty to the plan participants and making them the most money possible.
Right. So it sounds like there's a little bit more scrutiny.
Absolutely. More scrutiny, more focus on, money making. But it's interesting because not everyone's for this. A lot of principles for responsible investment, BlackRock, State Street, different companies are against it. And interestingly, Morningstar did a report a couple of years ago, and they're finding that companies that have high ESG ratings are actually making more money. So it'll be interesting to see if this proposed regulation really has any bite, because if the ESG rated investments are doing better, well, that's all they want you to do.
It would be a good option regardless.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, this is something I think that we're going to be hearing more about, and it's good that we have these proposed regulations to give us more guidance, as it's likely that more and more participants will be seeking socially responsible investment options in their plans. So that'll wrap up our discussion about ESG investments. Thank you, Marie, for joining us on the Benefits Companion. If you have any questions or suggestions for future episodes of this podcast, you can visit our employee benefits page at williamsmullen.com/employee benefits. There you can find out more about our team as well as past episodes of this podcast and legal alerts. Please be sure to subscribe to this podcast to be notified when our next episode posts. Thanks for listening.